Hey guys, Patrick FX here with Forex Robot Nation. Today I'm looking at the revolution. I'm looking at Forex Steam version 6. I am extremely excited for this new version. I have been asking for trailing stop. I have been asking for hedging, and finally they are giving me all the things I've been asking for, everything the users want. So let's take a look at some of these new features. You got the hedging, you got trailing stop, break even, news filter, daily trading feature. They added a whole bunch of new things to make Forex Steam version 6 the most profitable version of Forex Steam to date. I am extremely excited about this. I'm sure you could hear it in my voice. And so what I'm going to do today is teach you how you can use some of these features and show you how you can use these features with Forex Steam to earn you more money in the Forex market. So let's get started. First is hedging. This is real simple. When the EA is opened and this is activated, what happens is you can set it to 20 pips, for example. When the EA hits 20 pips, it will open a trade in the other direction, and that's if it's only a losing trade, of course. So it will hedge your bets. Now, the hedging is very simple. You set that to true, and this is 20. So if the trade goes 20 pips in the wrong direction, in a losing direction, it will enable a trade at the 20 pip mark going the opposite direction to hedge your bets. Next, you have the trailing stop. You set a pip amount when you want the trailing stop to activate. So you set the trailing stop to 10, for example. Then you can set the trailing stop amount to 10 as well. So if the EA were to hit 10 in profit, it would create a trailing stop 10 behind it, and then you could have a take profit of much higher, and then the worst you could lose is 10 pips below your take profit once it hits that point. So that's a nice way to use trailing stop. Then you have the trailing stop. You can enable that. And right now we have the trailing stop at 15. These are just default values. Obviously, if you're going to use trailing stop, you'll probably want to increase the take profit or you want to lower the trailing stop. So this will start at 15 pips and it will create a trailing stop at 15 pips below it. So what that means is when it hits 15 pips, it will create almost a break even or a stop loss 15 pips below that. But at 15 pips below that, if the take profit increases, the stop loss will also increase. So there will always be a 15 pip gap, which means if you go to 25 pips, you will have 15 pips below that, you'll be a 10 pip stop loss. And if you hit 30, then your stop loss will be 15. So you'll always increase the stop loss so that as you get pips, you'll actually never lose a large amount because the worst you could lose is that 15 pip margin. Next, you have the break even. It's just like trailing stop. What it does is if you have, let's say, a break even of 8, that's the kick-in point. So if you hit 8 pips, your break even will activate, and then you could set that break even to 2 pips. So then if you have a take profit of 15 and you don't hit it and it goes all the way down to 2, it would stop at 2. That would be your break even point. Now we have the break even feature. So right now, if the break even is 15, when the EA goes to 15 pips in profit, it will create a break even of 0. That is when, of course, it is true. And so what that means is when you hit 15 pips, your stop loss will change to 0. And that way, the worst loss you could face at this point is 0. Make sure if you're going to use break even, trailing stop, that you disable the pips retrace feature right here, because this feature, the retrace exit, this is kind of already like a a break even sort of strategy. And so you could disable that when using these. Then we have news filters. This is really important. The last version, I didn't like the news filter. It really didn't even seem to work. But this news filter, I've tested it. It works. And the most important thing is how to set up the DST offset. And I'm going to show you how to do that so you have that set up properly. When looking at the news filter, you see here, you can set it to true. You could set the minutes before and after the news. It obviously won't trade during the news, but you could set times before and after. You could also set the impact. So you could high, medium, low, and speaks. We prefer speaks and high news as true because they're more relevant. This is where you set the DST offset. I just showed an example of this earlier. Now, what you're doing with the DST offset is subtracting. So what you want to do is put the FFcal indicator on the chart, make sure that it matches up with the Forex Factory calendar and the time on your computer. Then you can set your offset. If it doesn't match up and the time is 10 hours in advance and it shouldn't be, then you set this to 10. Hey guys, so now I'm going to show you how to use the DST offset. Now this is pretty simple. What I did here is I took the FFcal indicator and I dragged it onto the chart. See, now we can see here in 2 hours and 29 minutes there will be the USD FOMC meeting. And now that I have that information, I can go to Forex Factory calendar and I can see right here that these meetings are at 2 p.m. And now if I look at my clock on my computer, it says 11:30. And if I do the math, 2.5 hours to 11:30 means the FFcal indicator is right, and I would have a DST offset of 0. Now, if you put the FFcal indicator on the chart, and this is you just put it on the chart so that you can see this, and then you'll take it off. But if you put this on here, and it says 3.5 hours, then you'd want to set your DST offset to 1. Or if it said 4.5 hours, when it's actually only 2.5 hours, then you'd set your DST offset to 2 and it will subtract. So this is just an easy way of showing the DST offset, how to set it up in the EEA. And that's really it. Just go here, put the FFcal indicator on your chart, take a look at the time here, go into the Forex Factory calendar, take a look at the time here, make sure that it matches up, and if it doesn't, then you use the DFC offset to subtract. Lastly, you have daily trading. You don't want the EA to trade certain days, you can turn it off. That's great. That's easy. You don't want it to trade Mondays. A lot of people hate Mondays. Just turn it off. And that's it. This is Patrick FX with Forex Robot Nation. If you don't have Forex Steam, you got to get it. If you do have Forex Steam, go to the members area, download version 6 today, and get started. So when looking at the day trading feature, you could see here that you could trade on Monday, Tuesday, and if you want to just shut it off, just double click, set it to false. A lot of people don't like trading on Monday, so a lot of people are going to set that to false. A lot of people are going to set trading on Sunday to false as well. It really is user preference. So that's it for Patrick FX with the latest Forex Steam review. I hope that you learned something here, and if you don't have Forex Steam, make sure you go out and get it. If you do have Forex Steam, make sure you go to the members area, download version 6, and start getting pips right away.